Hello class, I'm looking forward to working with you this semester. Just wanted to take a couple minutes to just briefly go through the syllabus and show you the materials that we'll be using. So my office is in the School of Business, so you're welcome to come by and see me. I'll be in typically on Thursdays, but there could be other days. Since this is an online class, you may not be local, but I'd invite you to stop in Sunday nights in teams, or give me a call on the phone, and let's just get to know each other a little bit outside of just what's going on with the class. So we will have a few meetings in teams that are organized, where I have specific content, like a class meeting, that I'd like for you to arrange to join me, if at all possible. So try to arrange those. There's not very many of them, but they are going to be important to you. Do not wait for office hours. If you have a question, just ask it right away. You don't have to worry about interrupting me, because I know how to turn off my devices if I don't want to be interrupted. All right, so it's not your responsibility to figure out whether or not I feel like being interrupted or not. Okay, so I tend to respond during daylight, so that's kind of my pattern. You can see the prerequisites there, the course description, the learning outcomes. The required materials are My Educator, which is a link that's in the syllabus. You go to that link, set up an account, pay your $69.99, and that's everything. That includes the software, that's the quizzes, that's the cases, that's the textbook. And here's the site, and you could download the text if you want it in PDF, if you like to actually hold it in your hands and make notes on it, or you can just read it here on the screen and just do it that way. You'll have to answer the questions for the text and the cases and so forth on the website, but the actual content in the textbook you can look at in PDF if you like. Okay? So at the end of each of the chapters, let's see if I can blitz through here. So here's a knowledge check in the middle of chapter 1, and these count. So you'll want to answer them, and you can answer them more than once. So if you get it wrong and you want to try again, you can do that. At least my understanding is that my settings are set that way. So if for some reason you find out that you can't, do let me know. My goal is for you to get them right, and so I want you to keep trying until you get them right. That's called mastery, and that's what I'm interested in. So there's questions throughout the reading, but there's also questions at the very end of the reading. So let's peek at those just for a minute. All right, so there's some questions at the end of chapter 2. So at the end of chapters 3 through 9, there'll be data sets to download and then questions to answer. So they'll give you some data sets, and then they'll give you some questions, and you will answer them here. These do not have as many attempts as you like. You have one attempt. So if you run into trouble, you can stop and contact me, assuming that you started in plenty of time before the due date, so that you can get those correct. All right, so let's go back to the syllabus here. So that's how you get your book and your exercise materials. You will need to be able to download RapidMiner, which is a big program. It's free, but you're going to get the full commercial copy. And so if your computer is 6 years or older, it may have trouble loading that software. So that is something you'll have to be able to do for this class. Because of that, I ask you to please download and launch RapidMiner the very first day of class, so that if there's any kind of issue, we can figure out what machine you're going to be able to use, what needs to happen, long before it's a problem for you in terms of being able to get the work done. All right. So in professionalism, again, I mentioned that the most frustrating part of this class is just getting that software downloaded on a machine that you can count on. So please do that early. Late work, in this class you can work ahead. so I don't limit what you could see in individual weeks and prevent you from working on next week's assignment. In this class, you can work ahead. I would encourage you to work ahead because we all know that life kicks us in the knees from time to time and you never know when it's going to come. So please work ahead so that you've got a little contingency space for when you get hit in the knees. If it turns out that you get into trouble anyway, sometimes you can't help it. You have an automatic 1 week extension. You don't have to tell me all your personal troubles unless you're not happy to listen, but you don't have to tell me personal details. You can have an extra week, but it's a letter grade deduction because, of course, late work can't ever be excellent. After that, I don't accept it. But you can work ahead and create a little cushion for yourself, and I do encourage you to do that. Most students do that, and so that if something happens, they can take care of it without it interrupting their academics. So at the end of the chapters, 1 through 9 and 14, the knowledge check questions, you can accumulate up to these many points. Some of you will answer a few of the questions about R, which is another program that I encourage you to play with. And so if you get more than these points, it rolls into a bonus category, which also maxes out, but some of you might like to do that. And then there's exercises in 7 of the chapters here, and those are worth 40 points. And then you'll do an executive summary. This one, the smaller point one, the 24.1, you will revise until it's an A. So you get no grade, just feedback, and then I return it to you and you revise it and turn it back in until it's an A. As soon as it's a 90% or better, then the revisions stop. The second paper, there are no revisions. By the time you get to the second one, I hope you've learned everything you need to learn to get an A on the first one. So the first one, you know you're going to get an A. The only question is how much learning can you manage to get done before you stop. So get as much learning, free learning, as you want before you get your A, so that you can then use that learning to get an A on the next one. Then you've got a cumulative open book final exam. You'll have a full-length practice final exam before you have to do that one, so that should prepare you if you take it seriously. So, and then those are the cutoffs for how many points go into each of the grade buckets. If you do some of the exercises or some of the knowledge check questions on the R language, and I do encourage you to play a little bit just to see what that's about, you can earn up to 30 points there. There's a maximum in terms of how many points you can get. I encourage you to review the mindset beliefs about how intelligence is grown and not born. So have a look there. And you can look at our university level policies, which you've probably seen, but you can review them at your leisure. So you can see in red the 3 check-in hours in teams that I would really like for you to attend because they're critical to the course content. The first one is how to interpret findings. The second one is about how to write an executive summary. And the third one is preparing for the final exam. So please block out those 3 Sunday nights if you can. The other ones, if you want to meet with me on a Sunday night, it doesn't even have to be on a Sunday night. I'm always happy to jump into teams or to meet with you on campus if you want to do that. But those 3 in particular, I'd like for you to try to set that aside so that we could talk about that. So I'm ready for your questions, and I'm ready for you to get started. Super excited about the fall. So let me know how to help you.